Live call-in format. My name is Mark Shawzin, the pattern trader. We are seeing absolute detonation in the stock markets, and it's only an hour and a half into the day. This is something that I've been predicting for the last 4 weeks. If you've read any of my emails, seen any of my videos, I'm like one of the only guys I know out there saying that I predict a 30% decline in the US stock indexes. That's going to happen, pretty quickly. And we're seeing absolute carnage in the markets. So Dahl wants to know about the SQQQs. You should reach in there and buy as much as you can with both fistfuls. I have been telling people that the NASDAQ turned when the triple Qs were at 334. Today we're hitting 308. So we penetrated under the 310 support level. And now it's just going to be panic in the streets. Now the next objective is about 300 on the triple Qs, about 800 points away, and then a lot lower from there. So, people have been diluted by all of the stimulus money, and, they are under the misguided notion that the Fed has got their back, and there's just going to be carnage out there. So Mike says, if you only had $600 in a trading account, for some reason weren't able to fund the account, and you were able to trade options, spreads, etc., with your skills and knowledge, what would you do in today's market? What would you trade? So it's not what would I do, it's what I am doing. I'm short Zoom stock. I'm short the stock of IPGP I told you guys about yesterday. It's down about $6 today. I'm long the puts. I started with a very small account just for the fun of it, with a few $1,000s. So I actually answered that question, Mike. I funded this account. I had like $2,000 in it, or I just had the account lying, and it's now got $16,000 in it. I've been long pound New Zealand dollar, short the NASDAQ spot, and the combination of that has taken my account from 2,000 to 16,000 in 2 days. So it is possible. People always say, well, you've got such big money balances, I can't afford to do what you can do. That's just BS. You can start anywhere. If you do the right thing, money will accumulate very quickly. Hey, Neil, how you doing? Do you have any questions for me? So let's see if there are any other questions coming in. So Victor says, do you have any idea of how high the pound New Zealand dollar is going to go? So we just broke above 207 today. 197. Got all my numbers all mixed up here. And I said at 193 we were going up 1,000 pips, and I'm not changing. I'm not changing my prognostication one iota. We hit 197.24 in pound New Zealand, and we're probably going to go up another 1,000 from here. So it's not too late to get in there. Neil says, how low will the NASDAQ drop to? I think it's got a 30% drop from here. So whatever that is, under 10,000, 9,000. My first objective is, I'll tell you where my first objective is. About 11,500, so about 1,000 NAS points from here. But I think once it hits there, it's going to keep going. Farron says, I know you emphasize closing prices, but do you also use print highs or lows for your chart analysis? I look at the high and low and where something closes. So I look at the whole daily bar or the weekly bar or the monthly bar, what I'm looking at from high to low, and then I look at how it closes. Now, I don't just look at one bar in a vacuum. I look at it in context with the trend or the pattern. And, we had a key reversal in the NASDAQ right at 334 on the thing, on the weekly and on the daily also. When the weekly and the daily made an all-time new high for the NASDAQ, it closed on the low of the day. So even though the NASDAQ made a new high, by the end of the day and end of the week, we closed on the low of the day and the week. And that to me was the beginning, but it was within the context of an ascending, broadening price pattern. So I saw that key reversal right on the top of a huge broadening price pattern that to me is very bearish. And so I was brazen, right on that key reversal. I stepped in and started loading up on these triple Q puts. I remember the triple Qs were trading at 334. I was buying the 320 puts that were expiring 1 week later. And, I put like 100 grand in there, and I made, 500 grand that week. And then I made 500 grand the week thereafter. And then yesterday I made $250,000 in a day. Is there a correlation between price moves of gold and dollar yen? Yeah, I don't look at correlations. They may work, but, they can also get out of whack for a long time. So, for a long time, the dollar was going down and so was gold. So typically we say when the dollar's going down, gold should be going higher. That didn't happen. So I don't look at correlations. I look at the chart itself. I look at exactly what the price structure of and I look at that instrument. I don't look at gold and then look at silver and try and I look at, each instrument, and the integrity of each instrument to itself. So I don't pay attention. Correlations can be dangerous. Things could get out of whack for a while, even before they straighten out. So Collins, how you doing? So Jiki says, I got knocked out of XAU USD, but shorted again. So, yeah, I think it's just, it's just been banging around in this range between 1720 and 1745. And, again, I'd watch to see how it closes today. If it closes on the low, you've got all of these 6 like inside day bars. It's kind of boxed up in this range. So the more that coils, the more it's going to unleash in the direction. And I think that direction is going to be lower. So you could put a sell stop under today's low at GK and just let the market work for you, or you could try and step in here with a stop loss over the highs. So Neil notes that silver's had a good downdraft. Yeah, silver's starting to roll over, but it's kind of reverse higher. So it had a prior reversal. I'm just trying to find that particular day. We had a prior reversal, I think on the 18th, it looks like, of January, where you had a key reversal right in this area at 24. The market, supported. And today we kind of did the same thing where we bounced, we hit that support area, and now we just bounced. But, I don't expect this bounce to last. It looks like, silver's starting to curl over and, a lot of pressure. So Uche wants to know about Swiss. So I was looking at the pound Swiss long and had a huge short covering thing. And so the Swiss seems really weak. I actually like the dollar Swiss. That seems like a trap play where prices got to a certain level, people got trapped in, and it could go the other way fast. So I actually like dollar Swiss long. So Swiss is weakening, and dollar's also strengthening. There's been a stealth kind of dollar move here with the higher interest rates, and I think that's going to continue. I've been short the euro for quite some time. The euro's still plunging today, making new lows. We're at 117.90. I got short at 119.37. I put a price target around 11600, and I think we're going to get there. So the dollar is strengthening. So happy to answer any questions. Let me know what you guys are doing. What are you guys trading? What do you guys like to trade? Are you trading forex pairs? Are you trading stocks, indexes? Let me know what you're doing. So, yesterday, for the last 3 weeks, I've been short Zoom stock I got starting getting short Zoom at 347. It's trading at 310 right now. So it's sitting right at the 309 support. And then there's nothing under it. There's nothing. This thing's going to go to 200. It's going to be like an elevator with no stops. GK says I'm long pound New Zealand, so GK, just hold on to those things. Don't get rid of them. These things move all over the place. This thing is going a lot higher. Kirby says, I took profits too fast. Great percentage gain, but I have to be more patient. So sometimes, just take off, 30 or 50% of your positions. When you feel like you want to get out of something, get out of 30%, see how that feels. And, you can always get out of the rest. Kim says, I had good success with New Zealand dollar, Australian, Canadian. Yeah, those have dropped like a stone. New Zealand dollar is weakening now. So, that's why I like the pound New Zealand dollar higher. Ender wants to look at oil. Let's take a look at oil real quick. What happened to my charts? There they are. So, I've been saying oil's hit this, resistance, this long-term resistance. There's years of resistance at about $70. And so I said like 3 weeks ago, somebody asked the same question. I said, get out. It's hit the resistance. And now I think we're, going to head lower. Cyprian says, I'm short S&P 500 and the Dow Jones. Yeah, you won't be unhappy with those positions. We're going down 30% from here. I listen to this freaking station all day long behind me, this, CNBC. It's a business channel here in the United States. Every single person gets on there and tells me how much stimulus. One guy came on yesterday and said we've got double the amount of stimulus that we had in 2008. And we've got all this great GDP, the economy's going to reopen, on and on and on. And I'm going, you have no idea what's going to come at you. And that's why I only look at price action. These guys, everybody thinks the same way. And if you think about the markets, you'll never get it right. The markets are irrational and they're ahead and they're looking down the line. And so if you're looking at things currently as it exists today, you'll never get the markets right. Mary says SQQ is going up. What price should we get out? Around 20. So yeah, I think 20 sounds like a good target. Now you'll have many days where it'll be buffeting back and forth, but yeah, I think we get to 20. I do. There's a gap up there at around 21, 22. We've also got a huge kind of descending triangle, and we're going to break out of that around $15. We've had this huge long downtrend because obviously we've had this monster uptrend in the NASDAQ. Now, for those of you who don't know, the SQQQs are an inverse ETF. So they move opposite to the NASDAQ. Not only that, they're 3 times levered. So whatever the NASDAQ goes down, SQQQs will go up 3 times more. So yesterday, the NASDAQ was down about 2%, which meant the SQs were up almost 9%. So they are going to break out of this huge long-term downtrend line at around $15. So I told my members to buy it, yesterday, and then buy more when it cracks $15, which could be today, the way this thing's going. GK says, Mark, although I'm a new trader, listening to you has made me calmer. GK, whatever I can do to help you, I'm happy to do it. Maris, you're welcome. Godson says, what do you think about the yen crosses? So I've been studying these crosses for a long time. I've been waiting for an opportunity, and I think we may have one upon us. I've always thought that euro yen and pound yen are going to crack back into the direction of the primary downtrend, and I think they did that. And I actually told our members, I said 130 is a huge monthly resistance level, and we got just above 130 on the euro yen, and we're turning lower. And so I think this is the beginning of a move lower in these yen pairs. Let me just check out dollar yen. I've made a ton shorting dollar yen. That kind of looks a little bit different right now. So it may be an opposite play going on in dollar yen. So I'm not quite sure about the yen pairs. I've been spending all of my focus, looking at the Nasdaq. That I'm watching these yen pairs. I told our members to take a little bit of a sneak position on the short side in euro yen, but it just may take, whenever a market has a huge uptrend as these yen pairs have, you need some kind of topping and more history, for then it to roll over. I don't think it's going to go straight up and straight down, but it sure could. So Gamas says, can you take a look at REK? I'm assuming that's a stock. I don't know that symbol. Is that ProShares short real estate? Is that what I'm looking at? So who asked that? It's yes. Yeah. Yeah, this is just in a long-term downtrend. You may have a little spike off here, but I don't really think there's. I'm looking at this weekly. You've got these two bars. It kind of looks like UVXY, which is the volatility indicator on the S&P. I really like UVXY. For $7, man, you can get some big bang for your buck. So I don't know, Gamal, you kind of got these two weekly bars that have dug in down here, and you may get a little bit of a pop out of here, but I don't know. There's probably a lot of other things that I would be doing. Easy asked about New Zealand dollar, US dollar. So I'm bearish on the New Zealand dollar. So for that reason, I'm bullish on pound versus New Zealand dollar. And yeah, New Zealand dollar, US dollar is kind of heading back into this primary downtrend. And it looks like, it's going to hit some, door stops on the way down. So yeah, it's turned lower back in its primary downtrend. So I think the dollar gets stronger right now, and to me, the New Zealand dollar is one of the weaker currencies. So and the euro, so I would short both of those. Sergey says, Sergey, I'm not really sure. By the way, you've asked a question. How to find out when we will return to the price, or if you're asking me if the price will return there. I'm by and large, bearish on gold, but it's in this kind of, just locked up in this trading range. I would put a sell stop in gold under today's lows and let the market put you in there. Collins would you like me to take a look at AbbVie? What is that? I think it's ABBV. I was looking at that. I mean, there's a high yield on that stock, but I wouldn't buy the stock for a yield. It looks like it's got a double top here at 113. I think that the stock market is very susceptible for a big move lower. So I'm not really buying much right now. And so I wouldn't buy ABBV. I mean, it has a big dividend, but I wouldn't buy it just for that. Let's see. Hong Kong, Yao wants to look at UVXY. So this is a sneaky play that I think you could make a quick double out of your money here. It's a volatility indicator on the S&P. If the end of S&P starts turning higher, so yeah, I think you've got a sneaky little double bottom here at $6. You're trading at 7. There's no reason this thing can't get back to 12. So I think there's a great risk reward play right here. You could, buy it here, risk $1 and make 5. Plumline wants to know about Euro, British pound. It's just trading at the lower end of the support level here. Again, what I try and do is I try and find trades that I think are going to extend one way or another, in some quick fashion. Whereas the euro pound, it's such a whippy pair, unless I feel like, it feels like it wants to head lower, but I don't know. It's just in this churning zone. I wouldn't really, trade it. Um, Kirby says, what is your favorite book on patterns? It's hard to say. I read a book 1,000 years ago. It was like this thick, and I lost it. I bought it at some historical archive store, and I, buried my head in it, and I studied it for years, and then I lost it, and I forgot who wrote it. To tell you the truth, there's many, and to my mind, what I think I've learned is, I've obviously studied patterns. I love patterns. To me, patterns precede market action. I do everything off patterns. My name is the Pattern Trader. It might as well be my legal name, because I really believe in them. I put $1.5 million in this stock IPGP just because I saw a huge double bottom price pattern. And I was too, I violated my own discipline. I got in there early. I started buying it around, selling short at 204. It went to 219 on me. I was losing $120,000. And now the stock's at $199, down $4 today. So now I'm making $6 on 7,000 shares. So my $120,000 loss is now about a $42,000 gain. But I just looked at that chart, and it's got a huge double top price pattern. There's only one way for that thing to go. Just like Zoom, Zoom's got these monster patterns. So what I've learned is that, I look at the pattern, and then I see how the markets respond, because frankly, the markets throw us a lot of patterns, to throw us off the scent of what it really wants to do. And so it's very nuanced. You can, bury your head in a textbook and understand patterns, and you should. But what I've learned, which took me many decades to kind of figure out, is, I look at the pattern, I set it up, I draw it, and then I watch how the market dances within the structure of that pattern. Is it respecting that pattern, or is it, so a great example right now is pound New Zealand dollar. Pound New Zealand dollar put on a monster head and shoulders price pattern. It went to its all-time high of 2018, 20, however you want to say it, 218 on the print there. And, then it came back down, and it had this monster, head and shoulders. But to my mind, by looking at the weekly pattern all the way back 6 years ago, I always felt this is in a stealth bull trend. So even though it came down, even though it formed this monster head and shoulders, it even broke the neckline of the head and shoulders. It went to 185, did a double bottom there, and started to come back up. So that head and shoulders, that was, the implication of that should have been much lower. You saw that pound New Zealand was doing something different. And I've been telling my members since 185 on pound New Zealand, this thing's bottomed. You need to buy it. And for 2 months, it did nothing but do this. So, I know, they think that I'm a lunatic and whatever. I've been saying for 2 months to buy it. And then you get sick of it, because if you're watching on a 15-minute chart, and for 2 months it doesn't do anything, and you go, this guy's just a scammer, and then you leave, then one day, 2 days ago, it was up 300 pips in one day. So you wait 2 months, and that's the thing with trading. I see my signals, but sometimes it takes a week, a month, 2 months, 3 months for the thing to go in the direction of something that I was looking at. The NASDAQ's crashing right now while I'm talking to you. So patterns are very instructive, but you have to look at how the market plays within the patterns. And if you didn't know differently, that pound New Zealand dollar looked like a monster head and shoulders top, but I knew it wasn't. So, I've been trading for more decades than I care to remember. And so what I've, learned to do is not only identify the opportunities, but also understand where the traps in the markets are. When you see that head and shoulders, while it looks so amazing, then you see the price action, and the price action doesn't go consistent with what, that, well, I think we just bounced up 100 pips in 1 second in the NASDAQ. I'm not worried. This is all about the close. This is going lower. Yeah, we bounced up just a little bit. Ubaid says, I think we'll reach 1,700 on gold. Yeah, I think we'll reach $1,650 on gold too. Yeah. MR says, how do you trade parabolic or overextended patterns? So just like everything else, I think the NASDAQ is a parabolic market, but it took a year of going straight higher. And if you fought it for a year, you got your teeth kicked in. And so for my mind, when a market ends, it will tell you it ends. And it'll tell you in the form of a pattern. So to my mind, what was it, almost a month, more than a month ago. So I do these Friday sessions. Every Friday, I have something called Master Pattern Trader where, our members who, signed up for those, I go through each one of the, the markets, all the currencies, gold, stocks, whatever. And on February 19th, I remember doing my analysis, in the Master Pattern Trader. And I was looking at the QQQs. And during that session, I saw that there wasn't one, there were like 4 or 5 different bear price patterns that were emerging in the Qs. So it wasn't just on a whim that I put 100 grand in options that could have just disappeared in the wastebasket the next week. I saw 5 different price patterns. So the NASDAQ is a parabolic market. It's been going straight up without interruption for a year, fueled by just easy money from the stimulus. But, all the companies in there are just frauds. There's overvalued. You're going to see now. We're going to see the reality of what Zoom is worth and Tesla and all this stuff. And it's going to be a lot less than what it's printed for now. But, look, if I fought what I thought they were frauds all the way up, but I was buying them. I mean, I was going with the momentum. It's like I don't fight the market. And then the market started to tell me when it was ready to turn. So we had in the Qs an ascending broadening wedge price pattern. You had a head and shoulders. You had a double top, and you had an island top. So if you look at actually the Qs that have a session high and low, there was a gap, in the Qs that left the top part just stranded like a big island. And so I saw 4 or 5 different bear price patterns starting to converge in the Qs. And so I've always felt the NASDAQ is a parabolic market that's just going to crash. But 2 months ago or 5 months ago, if I just, shorted it, I would have been, taken to the park. So, there's a time and place, and the market will tell you. And I'm thinking that Bitcoin is starting to tell you something too. If Bitcoin goes down to 40,000, it's going to have a huge double top. I think Bitcoin's in the process of crashing, also. That's a, huge double top. So, MRI, just wait for, the patterns to emerge and for, the market to tell me what it wants to do. So I always surrender to the will of the market. That's really my premise. It's like you cannot outsmart, outthink. If we could do that, I'd go downstairs and buy a Wall Street Journal. We'd all be rich. I could just read what's happening, see that there's all kinds of stimulus money coming and say, okay, well, then I need to buy my stocks today. It doesn't work that way. So, GameStop, I was a week too early. I had some puts on GameStop that expired last week. I made some money, but I don't know. This is just a fraud too. This is just a manipulation too. There's no sense to this thing. There's an investment bank that is doing a secondary offering. They're raising more money for GameStop. So, their analyst came out and put a $175 price target on, GameStop. The thing's probably worth 25 bucks. So it's just a fraud. That thing will eventually come down. It's just amazing. I can't believe today. It's just been an amazing thing. I think it's just a lot of manipulation there. I would not be playing in there. All right, guys. Anything else on your mind? I'll stick around for another minute or two. Yeah, these markets are bouncing around pretty crazily. Commodities is a short now. I wouldn't, do anything. There seems to be such manipulation going on. I mean, when you can go up $40, $50, arbitrarily like this, yeah, I think it is a short, but I would wait for some kind of signal. I haven't been following the rand too much, Wakamello. I am South African, but I have not been following the rand too much. MR says, which time frames do you look for patterns? So I look for the longer time frames because I'm looking to take the bigger moves out of the market. So I look at the minimum, the daily, and then the weekly and the monthly. So, and the reason I do that is because I'm not trying to, eke out, 20 or 30 pips on, some move. I'm trying to take 1,000 pips out of the pound New Zealand dollar. And, by having that objective, there's no way you could assess, the next 1,000 pip move on anything by looking at a 15-minute chart. So I knew, based on my study of the weekly charts going back 5-6 years in the pound New Zealand dollar, what it was going to do this week. And so I've been sitting, in the reads with a long position for a long time in pound New Zealand, and it's just been going nowhere. And then it just exploded out of nowhere. And that's what, markets do. And so, yeah, I look at daily, weekly, and monthly because I'm trying to take the bigger moves out of the market, right? I'm trying to take the next $100 out of, Zoom, the next 1,000 pips out of pound New Zealand. Now, it doesn't all work that way. I mean, and there aren't always, moves of that magnitude. But when there are, those are what I'm looking for. That's where I make all of my money. So, it's just, it's great fun. It's a distraction to trade in and out 5-10 times a day. But you're not going to make any money doing that. I mean, not serious money. Hey, Mustafa. Yeah, I've started doing this, every day. I don't know, I'll do it when I'm here. Um, I've done it for the last couple of weeks. I enjoy talking to people. I'm watching the market. I watch the market all day. My money balances go up and down all day. It's, I've been doing this for a long time now. I don't really, for me, why I'm still trading is that I like to beat the markets. I don't really care about the money anymore. And I think that's why I become such a better trader. I literally don't care about the money anymore. I mean, it's maybe easier to say, people say, well, it's because you have money, but it's not really true. So I take my punishment and I just move on. Whereas I used to, be in a loss and it was, it's an ego thing and you agonize about getting out. Now just get out. Just get out. I got hit for $80,000 loss last week in an option play. $80,000. And brush yourself off and, get up and, reevaluate the next setup. And that's the thing when you're in a loss and if you're just fixated on it, it occupies all of your time and then you're not going to see the next opportunity. So I got out of that and loaded up on the QQQ puts when the QQQ was at 319, 320 this week. I loaded up on Zoom. I loaded up on IPGP, and yesterday I made $250,000 in a day. So, but I don't really, to me, it's just a game. I look at the setups and try and think of what I'm trying to do and a risk reward. And then I don't think about the money. The money will come. If you do the right thing, the money will come. Mustafa, thank you. Mustafa says you read the market so well. Yeah, I've been kind of really nailing it. But look, I was, and I know this because I was getting surgery 7 weeks ago, and I was in New Jersey. And I remember going to breakfast with my wife, and I didn't want to tell her, but I was taking, some punishment in the market. I was down 20, 30%. I couldn't do anything right. I was buying Lyft early. I was buying IBM early. And, I was down about 20, 30%. And, I was bummed out. But I know myself. I know that, I'll find, give me enough time and I'll find a winner. And then right when the day after surgery, when I was recovering and I swore I wasn't going to trade, I was bored. I started looking at the charts and I started seeing a setup in Lyft, which I've been looking at for a long time. There's a huge double bottom, and then it came back down, put another double bottom at $46. I started buying the stock. I started buying the call options. I remember the stock was trading around $44. I was buying the $46 calls and the $47 calls. I think I paid $1 for the $46 calls. And that week, Lyft closed at 53, and I made 700% on those $1 calls. And then I also had the 47s, and then I also had the stock. So from a 20 or 30% decline just 8 weeks ago, I know it sounds absurd. I'm up well over 400% since then. So you do the right thing, and even if your account's not going to go straight up, and there will be times where the market's not cooperating, or you're down, or what have you. But if you know what you're doing and you have the discipline, the market's always there to feed you more money. That's my philosophy. My wife wants a new purse. I go, okay, I'll just go and ask Mr. Market. I'll just go and put on a trade. Not that I need to put on a trade to go buy a purse, but the market is an ocean of money out there. And so Gamal says, what is a good stock long term? So usually when people ask you that, you think of something that you want to buy. So I think like Zoom is the best stock long term to short. I can't see how this thing's going to go higher. So I was actually having this discussion with my partner last night, who's he's a young guy. He's in the S&P index funds. I was trying to tell him that to go to cash, and he goes, no, I don't want to do that. And I said, look, since December, I rounded the corner of the new year, and I have all this cash just lying around, looking for a home. But I didn't know what to do with it because I didn't want to. I just felt that we were close to the end of the road. And I didn't have the feeling that if I just parked myself somewhere, that I could feel good about it for long term. I want to see a huge washout in these equity markets, which I think is coming. I want to see a 20, 30, 40% washout. And then, I'll start looking at, certain things, some, REIT plays, cyclical stocks, different things. But right now I'm actually just looking at, at the shorts. I'm looking at this one stock, Simon Property Group, SPG. I was looking at it at 90 and I missed it. And this may be a good play, SPG, because I think it was giving you a 5 or 6% dividend yield at 90. Then it went to 120. And I was so pissed I didn't take that trade. And I may, I'm looking for, some kind of, I was looking for a little bit more of a pullback than this, but the price action here is like holding at the 106. So SPG, is something that, you can hang out in. It gives you a 5% dividend. And I think at some point it'll be at 140 or 150. So not the sexiest play on the planet. So right now I'm just heavily short. And then, with my real money, I'm just looking for ways to deploy it that, I can feel like I have some safety, if these markets start coming apart. Gamas says, will you give us good stocks after a dump? There's always good stocks. I mean, I would be looking to buy Lyft on a decent pullback here too. I mean, I think Lyft is going up long term. I love that stock. And actually, you're kind of digging in today. You got a key reversal today. It's kind of got some decent price action today. I'm going to see how that looks, and maybe I'll buy that. So Lyft is something that I like long term also. Okay, Cyprian, thank you. All right, guys, I think I'm going to leave you there. Thanks for checking in. And for those in my Master Pattern Trader, I'll see you tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Otherwise, you guys, I'll see you next week. So have a great trading day, and I'll see you next time.